Hey there. Today I wanted to demonstrate Leo's grading feature. So if you go to withleo.ai, it'll take you to this page. And if you log in, it'll take you to the dashboard. I'm already logged in, so I'm going to click on this icon on the top right, and that'll take me to the dashboard. And here you can see all the assignments I've created. I'm going to go ahead and create a new assignment. And you can see that it'll ask me what type of assignment I want to create. And so for this demonstration, we want to do grading. So I'll click on that one. And it's going to ask me a few questions about that grading assignment. So for this demonstration, we're doing Newton's laws of motion. So the assignment name can be explanation of Newton's laws. And there's just one question in this assignment. We just asked the students to describe each of Newton's laws in a paragraph form. So I can click next, and that'll take me to the rubric page where it'll ask me to create a rubric. And since there's only one question, it'll just list one item on the left side. If you have more questions, it'll list more down here. So on the right side of this page, you can see there are text boxes along with number inputs. And so the number inputs indicate how many points you want that criteria to assign. So because there's three laws of Newton's motion, we can do 3 criteria points. And I'll say for each criteria, student describes Newton's first law of motion correctly. And then we can just copy and paste that criteria point description over into the other criteria points and just change the law number. And let's say each criteria point is worth 3. So the assignment in total will be worth 3 points, and 1 point for each law of motion correctly described by the student. And in the context, I can input the question itself. So question asks students to describe Newton's laws of motion. We can say to describe each one of Newton's laws of motion. And there you go. That's the rubric. This is obviously a very simple example. And if you have a longer assignment with multiple questions, you'd click on each question and input the criteria for that particular question on the right side. So in this case, we're done. And I'm going to click on Create over here. And that'll ask me for some submissions. So here we go. Here I can upload a couple submissions. I have 2 submissions prepared. One is a fully correct submission where each of the 3 laws is explained correctly. And then another one is an incorrect explanation of Newton's laws. So once I upload those, it will take me to the submissions table where it lists all the student submissions. If you have a class of 20 or 30 submissions, then obviously this table will be a lot longer. But in this case, we only have 2. So now you can see that each of the submissions are listed in this table, and it's going to ask me to box the submissions. So you can see here the status is awaiting boxing, and that means we'll need to box where the answers are. So I'm going to click on the box button. It's going to take me to the boxing interface. It might take a second to load, but here you can see that it's loaded. I'm going to click on question 1 because there's only one question for this assignment. And then on the right side, I will drag and create a box of the student's answer that goes with this particular question. So once I do that, it's going to take a screenshot of it and save this answer and connect it with the question that I have clicked on. So the reason for this is if you have a really long assignment with many questions, it helps the AI understand which part of the student submission, which answers go to which question. So it's kind of a mapping function. So once that's done, we can go to the next submission and do the same thing. You can see question 1 selected. I will create another box here. And this is the incorrect answer. Perfect. All right. It looks like the submissions have been boxed, and so now I can go back. If I click on the name, it'll take me back to the submissions table, and you can see that the submissions are ready to grade. And now I can just click on grade all, and that'll send them for grading. After about a minute or less, we'll see that we'll see that the grading is done, and each one will have a grade allocated with it. All right, it looks like the grading is complete, and you can see that the status is now graded, and you can see that the grade is allocated here. And I'll show you in a second that these grades have been allocated correctly. So this was the correct explanation of Newton's laws. If I click on that item, it'll take me to the result page. And once it loads, you'll be able to see the points that have been allocated as well as feedback. So here it is. If I click on the question, it'll show the student submission on the right side. This was the paragraph that we took a screenshot of. And you can see that it's correctly identified each of the three laws of motion correctly. It's the student obviously answered the question fully accurately, and the AI has graded it accordingly. If you click on this chat icon here, you can see that the AI has left some comments, and here it says that overall the answer meets all three criteria. So correctly, it's assigned 3 out of 3 points. If we go back to the other submission, we'll find that, again, the AI has correctly found that only one of the questions is correct. So the issue in this case was that the student had swapped the second and third laws of motion. So incorrectly, the student said that the second law asserts that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, where in reality, that's actually the third law. And then the third law here is actually the second law. And so the AI has correctly identified these two laws as incorrect and did not allocate those points. Now, you can see that the feedback actually identifies this as well. And so the comments will reflect this. The answer incorrectly describes Newton's second and third laws of motion, swapping their definition. The first law is described correctly. And so there you have it. Obviously, if you have a lot more, you'll see in the submissions table many more results, and the same algorithm applies to all of them at the same time. So you can grade up to 100 or even 1,000 of these submissions within a minute. Thank you.